Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Reddington Board of Education. This meeting is being held in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act and is open to the media and public. Notices were duly posted and the meeting was advertised in the Hunterdon County Democrat Courier News. Formal action may be taken. Can I get a roll call, please?
Mrs. Betterman.
Here.
Mrs. Fiore.
Here.
Mrs. Menser.
Here.
Mr. Beach.
Here.
Mrs. Bogorski. Mrs. Ryan.
Here.
Mrs. Wolf.
Here.
Dr. Cerciello.
Here.
Ms. Hamel.
Here. If we can rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'll turn it over to you, Dr. Hart.
Thank you, Mrs. Hammond. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, we're going to start my superintendent's report with a special treat. As I mentioned before, during our board meetings, I'd like to provide to you highlights throughout the year regarding our progress being made towards strategic goals. So we've celebrated many accomplishments already this year, but tonight I wanted to draw special attention to Aubrey Anatra and her project in Mr. Daly's Civics class. As you know, Civics is a brand new course this year. The engagement and ingenuity of students has shown to be spectacular. Mr. Daly, who's here tonight, has also embraced this new venture by selecting community partners to come and speak to the class as well. And some of you have seen some of those presentations. So I'd like to allow an opportunity for Mr. Daly to come up, take a moment, tell us a little bit more about the class, and then if you would, please introduce Aubrey so she can talk about her project. Mr. Daly, turn it over to you.
Thanks. Should I sign in as well?
Yeah, it's okay. Just make sure you hit the button on the speaker. There you go.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Before I begin, I wanted to share with the board, with Dr. Hart, Mr. Charleston, who's in the audience, that I've felt an incredible amount of support throughout, rolling out the civics program at Reddington Middle School. There's been a great deal of guidance and also freedom that was afforded to me in the process as I've tried to make my vision for the course become a reality for our students. Dr. Hart has even served as a guest speaker, and I never thought I'd be co-teaching a lesson with the district superintendent in my career here, but I provided a lot of valuable assistance to me multiple times as I planned the class, and thank you for that. In a time of increasing political polarization, the need for civic education is actually one of those rare instances where on which Democrats and Republicans actually agree. We need to employ the younger generation with the skills and knowledge necessary to become future leaders of our country. And I think this class serves as a really good opportunity to do that. When Laura Wooten's law was signed in the summer of 2021, I remember emailing our then principal, Sharon Moffitt, at the time saying, sign me up, I want this class, as one of the things that I thought I could really take my passion for civics, which I was already doing in social studies, and try to make it a reality in our class. Although we are in year one of this rollout at RMS, I feel like the students have really embraced the class, and it's already becoming a pivotal experience in the 8th grade journey for them. In order to make civics at RMS a unique course for our students, I decided to utilize the expertise I gained while serving on the district's strategic planning committee for partnerships. In the summer of 2022, I reached out to Hunterdon County Clerk Mary Melfi in order to plan a series of guest speakers and assemblies for our students. She has been instrumental in helping me to plan authentic learning experiences for our students. What began as one phone call morphed into a series of guest speaking engagements with Assembly Minority Leader John DeMeo, gubernatorial candidate Jack Ciattarelli, joint town hall meetings with Congressman Tom Malinowski at the time and current Congressman Tom Kane Jr., and a voting rights assembly with County Clerk Mary Melfi and Elections Administrator Beth Thompson. We've been able to partner with Meals on Wheels in Hunterdon to decorate bags for those in need of the holidays, and half of the 8th grade has already volunteered on site at the Flemington Food Pantry. Partnerships and support have definitely been key. My 8th grade colleagues have allowed me to get creative with our schedule. We have shut down the 8th grade for multiple occasions where we've done a series of cross-curricular civics learning opportunities for students. They've all served at some point in the semester as de facto civics teachers, and I'm really grateful for their support in that journey. Finally, partnerships have facilitated the completion of many of the posters that I brought with me, and obviously the highlight of the evening, Aubrey's Project Citizen assignment. I've tried my best to empower students to contact local and state lawmakers, interest groups, and experts in the field of their studies. With this framework, I believe the civics class will be able to provide a valuable inquiry-based learning experience for our students. I'm excited to be able to potentially lead this endeavor for our kids. And with that, I want to turn it over to the star of the evening, Aubrina. Come on up.
Thank you, Mr. Daly. So I did my citizen project on the Mill Road Bridge. So this bridge has been out for 2.5 years now. And I decided to contact a bunch of people. So I contacted Mrs. Schwartz and Mr. O'Brien. These people basically said that there is a lot going on with the lack of funds, the weather, the lack of workers as well, and the lack of materials. So I decided that this isn't something that I just wanted to do a project about. This is something that I wanted to try and fix because this is my road and it's the bridge that is like detouring us every single day. It adds like 10 minutes onto our route either way, no matter what we do. So I decided to contact more and more people. Eventually, I found out because I noticed, like, is there a law about this? So I looked, and there is a lot of laws about the amount of time construction can take, but there is not a lot of laws with this one because it is a historic bridge. It's from the early 20th century. This bridge was actually installed backwards. So when the engineer was on vacation, the workers decided to just install it anyway, but then they installed it backwards. Now there's a huge disagreement on who pays for this extra construction, the contractor, Grade Construction, or is it the county? So this, hopefully, an agreement is on the horizon because I would love for there to be some sort of just like piece of this. So I did the presentation, went really well. I got in contact with Mr. Albanese. He invited me to the township meeting. That went really well, and then they invited me to the county commissioners meeting, and that also went really well. And then I got the invite to be here tonight, and I'm super excited. And I just wanted to say thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for this Project Citizen, and thank you to Mr. Daly for allowing us to do this. It really allowed me to be my creative self, and it allowed everyone I know to think outside of the box. So thank you to everyone, and thank you to the best citizens.
So we wanted to highlight Aubrey's project tonight because Aubrey, you presented at both the Reddington Township Committee and the county commissioners as well. Is there any update on the status of your project or the project in general? Yeah, so we can hear.
So actually, I got a call today from the office at the commissioners, and they basically said that they wanted me to know that there is a lot being done. And they also did say that they had 3 possible options now that this is going to be underway more. And I like to think that this is something that I've done because nothing was happening until I went up there and talked to them. And yes, so now.
I agree.
I have something for you too. This is wonderful work. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
This is a little certificate.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, of course. Mr. Daly, you can join Mr. Charleston if you would like to. Mr. Charleston is here tonight too. Come on.
Yes.
For the goods Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
You got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Daly, I know you said you brought some other projects with you as well. Board members, Mr. Daly had the students present back January 27th, I want to say. And it was like a showcase of student learning in the cafeteria where students picked various topics related to civics and civic education. And I don't know, Mr. Daly, if you just wanted to show us a quick sample of some of the posters.
Do you want me to put them
that you
anywhere?
brought? Yeah, just shout out the types of projects.
Okay, well, but one quick thing to
Yeah.
note is I was talking to my students about this when we very early on pitched the idea of doing Project Citizen, which is, a countrywide competition. And the book kind of makes the recommendation that the entire class should pursue the same topic, which is great because you can delve into, a great amount of detail with that. In the open discussions that I had with my kids, they were a little bit more keen to all pursue their own individual topics. That way they can kind of specialize in something that they were interested in. So we had issues ranging from a local issue like what Aubrey selected to ones that you see across the country that are, pretty big topics that divide the country. But I really think not only did the kids handle them in a respectful way by looking at different viewpoints, but we had Democratic and Republican lawmakers there at the Civics showcase to be able to get those different perspectives. So I thought that was great to see. So some of the ones that I highlighted were school start times. We had, I think, 3 groups of students that really were interested in looking into the, I think it was the state Senate bill in New Jersey that tried to push the start times of all New Jersey high schools to no earlier than 8:30, I believe, and some of the momentum that was behind that. We had a pretty hot button issue of abortion, which I did have some students that were interested in that wanted to pursue, and I've never really taken the approach of trying to handcuff my kids with some of the issues that they wanted to study. If they're interested in that and they can pursue it in a mature and responsible way, I think that was good for them to be able to handle. And one of the other ones was local homelessness that people wanted to look into, because there have been a lot of issues, particularly in Reddington, people posting online of some issues that happen in the community, and they wanted to know more about it. So I can just kind of post them up in the back if people want to look at them. But, yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Young. So thank you for coming tonight. Thank you, Mr. Charleston, Mr. Daly, and Aubrey for your wonderful project. We really appreciate it. We appreciate all that you've done for the students in Reddington and to the board. I don't know if the board has any questions for Mr. Daly or Aubrey before we move on.
Dr. Hart, can I just say one thing?
Please, Mr. Charleston.
I'd be remiss if I just didn't say a couple of really quick words. As you all know, there are 3 strategic goals for the Reddington Township Public Schools: social awareness, inquiry learning, and partnerships. I personally applaud Project Citizen. I don't think there's another type of project that's really out there that really touches upon all 3, the way that Mr. Daly has done with his students. Our students connected those passions, those interests, those local, state, or national issues that they truly cared about, and Mr. Daly created a wonderful curriculum and delved really deep into this. I couldn't be proud of the work that Mr. Daly has done, and the teachers and all the help. There's a lot of help that went into Project Citizen as well, the office staff, the custodial staff, the tech staff. They did a tremendous job as well. And I couldn't be prouder of all the students too. And I think some of you saw some of their work. It's truly amazing. And what Aubrey has done has been absolutely amazing. She's taken her work beyond the school walls. When we talk about Viking pride, this is what we really need. And this is what Mr. Daly and Aubrey have done. So thank you. Thank you for having us, and thank you for their wonderful work.
Thank you, Mr. Charleston. Thank you. There are any other questions or comments? You are all welcome to stay to hear budget presentations if you like. Transportation is first, and I'm sure Ms. Cole would be able to tell you about how this might impact transportation routes.
Thank you very much.
But thank you. But if you leave, it's okay. At this time, I'd like to turn the presentations over to our pre-budget presentations for this evening. Ms. Cole, go ahead. Ms. Cole will talk about transportation. Mr. Race is here to talk about facilities. And then we will have our very own Mr. Bohm walk you through the general administration budget, as well as some highlights of personnel. Similar to last time, remember, all of the documents are in the BOE portal for you to see. There's a summary document, and then there's the line-by-line budget items underneath that as well. So, Marcy, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Cut and dry budget. All my big ticket items are on the summary. The biggest one is the fuel, the gas and diesel. That was our biggest raise this year, the increase in the budget. And then the next one would be the one bus that we're hoping to purchase. Everything else pretty much stayed the same for big parts. They may went up a little bit, but not much. We have one new initiative, one new line item in the budget It's stipends for hiring new people. That's basically the only thing we added this year. That's a $500 sign-on bonus for new drivers, a $500 referral fee, which is working out very well. Very well. We'll have, let's see, I've hired 2 bus drivers so far this year. I have 2 more training, so we're getting there. It's just the little things that excite me. Let's see. We did buy 2 new buses from last year, which does not impact the budget this year. Basically, that's it all. Anybody have any questions?
Just a quick question, and
Sure.
maybe Jason can answer. As far as the gas increase, was it do you know about what percentage it's gone up from what? And this is just the price of gas that's causing the drive, right?
Right. Well, mostly the diesel. The diesel has gone up a lot. The gas, maybe, really not much of an increase, maybe 30 cents or so. It's the diesel that really hit us hard.
The buses
But there's-
gas or diesel?
The buses are diesel, and with the vans we have are gas.
What's that?
They interrupt you?
No, that was just my question, how big of an increase we were
Yeah.
looking at.
Percentage-wise, I didn't figure it out, but I can get it to Jason to give to you.
I can look at it year over year, I just didn't know if you knew. Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
just had a question about the general liability insurance. You said it went up, the insurance.
Mhm.
Is that just for transportation or
That's just transportation's part, right, Jason? It goes by department.
what's, where is that on here? Let's see.
It is,
That's on here, I don't know what I'm doing.
And why has that gone up?
I'm probably best,
Yeah.
I have to give each department their number. That actually insurance increase has not occurred yet. It's still out for bid. So we'll get that increase probably around May. But right now, we're projecting based on tentative information we have. Although I anticipate that increase may be double digits based on my last discussion with the broker. From what I understand from that industry, the reinsurance got hit hard because of a lot of the stuff that occurred during the pandemic. And they are now hitting the insurers, which are passing costs along to us. So right now we have a very minor increase, but the increase may actually be more than what we budgeted.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask a follow-up? The insurance that we're talking about, it's not vehicle insurance?
With general liability insurance, each department has kind of a little part in it. So it is automobile insurance for Marcy, but there's other aspects like property, which is under Don's budget. So you'll see the same thing in Don's budget, workers' comp, which is under my budget. So the overall pot is separated between the departments.
So our insurance all goes through the broker?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I have a question.
sure.
So I see that you have a reduction in a bus route from Branchburg. What does that mean? Does that mean that bus route is no longer needed and we'll have them all within the Reddington
Next,
routes? Or does it mean we're going to extend other routes for other students?
it means that we budgeted for 3 this year, we only used 2. This coming school year in September, it is my hope that I don't need any Branchburg drivers, that we will do it all in-house.
So just to be clear, Marcy, this is that we've hired enough bus drivers to have all of our own routes without
Yes.
having to outsource
Yes.
to other routes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yes, thanks for that clarification. Okay,
Sure.
great. Thank you, Marcy.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
And I just want to clarify one thing. A lot of our gas and diesel is purchased through the township. So we actually share, and they give us a reduced rate. So it's a nice partnership. So I just wanted to highlight that for everyone in the township.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Marcy. John, you're next.
Evening, everyone. So just real quick, we'll go through the.
Don, can I give you just 1 second? For those of you who don't know, Marcy is our transportation supervisor who was just here. Don is our facilities manager.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't introduce that.
Facilities management for the district, along with safety and security, I do some security as well. So, look at the budget for the next school year. We're looking at a little over $2.6 million. We do have an increase this year of $312,000. Part of that increase, about $180,000, was the increase in our maintenance reserve. It's not tax levy dependent. We're taking on a few more projects this summer than we did the summer before. The remaining increase in the first couple line items on our recurring items. One is the custodial services contract, up for bid again this year, and then also we went from having 2 police officers in the district down to 4. So that was the rest of that increase. The other items I have here are just some of these recurring items. We've been seeing increases in these items. Trash and recycling services. Again, we were talking about general liability insurance, which is our part of that insurance package. Our well water management, we have wells in the district. We have consultants who help us with compliance for that to make sure we're doing everything we need to be doing. Along with that, the water testing services, all the water testing we need to do for the water, all these wells. We're seeing increases in those costs as well. Right, custodial supplies or cleaning supplies, we've seen some increases there. Recently, we've seen some increases in natural gas. The commodity of natural gas has gone up rather than the distribution or how they get it to us. And then we've seen some minor energy increases with electric. So a couple things, just a highlight here. Here's a project we planned for. This is being funded through a grant through the New Jersey Department of Education. We will be finishing the project of upgrading the communications for fire and burglar alarms. Right now, what we're doing is we've done it at Hollenbrook and the middle school already. We've taken those systems off of antiquated phone lines out there that become very unreliable. Until now, we really didn't have that problem at White House and Three Bridges. Now, just recently, we started having the same problems that we're having in the schools. So what this will do is it allow us to move those communications over the network, some cellular backup, just to increase the reliability of those alarms. Capital maintenance projects, you mentioned some of this increase here. The RMS back gym roof and the art room, along with some HVAC upgrades to the back gym. This is on our long-range facilities plans, and it's come to the top of the list, so we want to try to take care of some of them if we can. Hollenbrook, Three Bridges, and White House, we're doing some restroom installations for our expanding kindergarten and special ed programs at those schools. White House, we're doing a renovation of their outdoor garden classroom with the Master Gardener program they have over there. It'll look very similar to the project we did with middle school courtyard this past summer with new garden beds, new pavers. We're really going to clean it up in there. Hollenbrook, middle school in Hollenbrook here, we're going to begin working on changing these lights all over the LEDs. White House and Three Bridges are already changed over. So we're going to start working on getting this. It's a little bit bigger project than those other two schools. We're also doing a district-wide our staff lounges, refresh our staff lounges, make a little more accommodating, a little more friendly. And then also we're doing some district-wide indoor signage just to improve some of our security inside of our buildings. A lot more signage to help with that as well. So that's my quick little highlights of what we're doing in the facilities department. We do have other projects, other maintenance projects going on, but they're kind of smaller and they're becoming the routine we're doing every year. Concrete repairs, sidewalk repairs, doing some of these things that pop up every year.
Just just curious about something on, sorry, on page 3 with the fire alarm, all the inspections for fire alarm.
Yes.
Fire equipment, what, is that to pay someone to go around, or what is that for?
Yeah, we have a company that comes through, does our fire inspections for us. It's the same company that does our fire monitoring. It's the same monitoring company we use, right? So we do those fire alarm inspections. The fire equipment inspections is our fire extinguishers, kitchen cancel systems and things like that. We have another company come and do that. And like I said, they also come in and do our testing and recharging of all that equipment.
Does any government agency come in and do part of that?
Other than normal yearly inspections by our local fire inspector, we do in-house inspections of this stuff, and then like the kitchen systems and things like that, and sprinkler systems, they are done either quarterly or biannually.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Don. And Jason will provide you with an update on central administration.
Saving the best for last. I'm going to go over central administration department budget and save the personnel and benefits for executive session. The reason why we don't go over personnel and benefits in public is because of the nature, the contents of that budget. There are position control changes in that, as well as things that may impact negotiations. So that's why we save it for executive session. That information will become public, likely March or April, when Dr. Hart and I present the budget to the public. So you basically are getting a preview of what will go into March. For central administration department, that is basically Dr. Hart's and my budget. Our office's total budget is $337,000. We're down about $2,000, and that's mainly small budget cuts to insignificant items. The two main initiatives that we have in here for next year are retreats and trainings for board leadership and recruitment and retention. So we had a big reporting committee formed for recruitment and retention. So we have put away a little bit of money to help that effort next year. A lot of, I think one or two of our committees started going through that report in the contents of the recruitment and retention task force. So that's probably will be going over in other committees as we progress in this period. But most of our budget is recurring in nature and not changing. So 1/4 of the budget is legal, which is primarily our board attorney, Fogarty and Harrell, but also includes around 20 grand for Highland Claims, which is our insurance attorney. That's for usually special ed, due process nature of litigation. We also have general liability, which we talked about, which is the primary cost of insuring everything besides health and dental. So that covers umbrella, property, so on and so forth. Then we have computer software, which is a lot of our various systems, audit fees, professional development, which is you all, as well as Dr. Hart and I and our staff. Then we have dues for New Jersey school boards. So just so you know, New Jersey school boards is mandatory to pay dues by law. And then the optional Garden State Coalition for Schools, which we reviewed a few years ago and decided to stay in for the time being. Mail, supplies, and services is the same, so is advertising. We've been trying to get more creative with advertising, so the costs there have actually come down because obviously newspaper advertising is going away. Very costly to advertise in the newspaper, so we've been functioning more through online advertisements, which is a lot cheaper. There's various other things that in here that I won't go into in detail because they're minor in nature. But some of the things that I want to highlight before I answer questions is some of the things that are no impact to the budget, but that we do. So one of the big things that my office does is low-income assistance. So we work with Christine Day for social services in the Reddington Township, as well as the HSA, to identify families that have need, and we provide a variety of things to them, whether it's breakfast or lunch through the district, but it also could be clothing, could be backpacks, school supplies. HSA has been great about helping with book fairs and other events to provide money for their students. So that's just a really good partnership between a nonprofit entity and the township. We also do a lot of grant writing. I know Don and Marcy are here and they really enjoy grant writing with me. But we've been pretty successful. So we've gotten hundreds of thousands of dollars from FEMA. We just applied for ROD grants, which could get us about $250,000. The lighting at White House and Three Bridges, the LED lighting, was completely paid for by the state of New Jersey, which saves the district money in terms of utilities, but we really didn't have to pay that much money for those upgrades. So those are some great things that we do. Also small grants that are like environmentally friendly. So the bioswale that we saw at Three Bridges just got complete, as well as the rain garden in front of RMS, as well as White House has indoor courtyard. All of that was funded by either grants through the DEP or through Investors Bank. So we got $5,000-$10,000 here and there. Retirement and financial planning, I do that as part of the Teacher Academy. So just want to highlight Teacher Academy is a really amazing thing that this district does, which is really not heard of in other districts. So you have teachers teaching teachers, you have administrators teaching teachers, as well as paraprofessionals. And it's really turnkeying things that people have learned by going to professional development or through their college, university coursework to make the instructional environment better long-term. But it's really great and it's free. I mean, we pay a very minor cost for people that attend it after school. It's a tremendous program. And we allow people from outside the district to come. Last two things briefly, cafeteria services. So we are continuing with breakfast program, which is a newer thing to the district. And that's really through Manashua's partnership, who's our service vendor for that. And summer enrichment, I'm gonna take all the credit for this, although this is Colleen Ogden, a Holmdel teacher. She's done a great job of revamping the summer program for enrichment. That is now available for enrollment if you would like to sign up for it. So that's my 5-minute presentation. Any questions?
Why do you think, why are the legal fees going to go down this year?
Primarily because I anticipated that we're going to be out of negotiations. But hopefully that's so. Our legal fees are relatively benign in nature and really only spike if there's an unusual matter that occurs that requires us to go to the attorney. The nice thing about this district is our administration doesn't turn over frequently. So most of the issues that you have to go to the attorney for can be handled by administration without attorney intervention. A really strong point is also Stacy Beagle. Stacy Beagle does a tremendous job of keeping things in-house and programs in-house, which avoids a lot of litigation. So she's doing a great job.
Oh, and the dues you have to have for NJ and SBA, who's that for? Is that for us, for the board members?
That is primarily for the board members. That's the New Jersey school boards. And there's a part of the law that mandates that we pay those fees. It's just a requirement under law. So that's almost like a public entity, New Jersey school boards. Has very good programs, but it's also, you have no option, you have to do it. I look forward to our discussion on personnel in a second.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. That concludes my superintendent's report.
Oh. Well, thank you. Thank you, everyone. So if they're done with their budgets, can they leave?
If there are no questions on the budget, I'm sure that Jason and I can answer any questions that you might have that come up later on. But Marcy, you're welcome to stay, as always. But feel free. Marcy, you have to be up early tomorrow morning.
Yes,
The bus is going.
yes.
Have a good night.
4:15 every day. Ooh. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you, you too. Okay, we are now open to the public, limited to action items on the agenda.
Good evening.
Just make sure it's green.
Green, you great? Tim Charleston, principal at Reddington Middle School, along with Helen Goodfellow, counselor and certified dog handler, and Cora Bean, certified therapy dog. I'm here to speak about and call attention to the second read that is up for tonight about therapy dogs. Want to acknowledge the leadership that Dr. Hart and the board policy committee, in terms of their insight and leadership about how the policy is crafted and created. And written to provide multiple avenues for potential therapy dogs within our school. There's tremendous research backed in these programs, and there's a myriad of supports and ways that therapy dogs can help all students in Reddington Township Public Schools, but specifically at Reddington Middle School. We are excited about the possibilities of this and appreciate the opportunity that this policy is up for a second read tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you for introducing us to Cora.
Would anybody like to see Cora closer up? I don't know, she's a good fellow. I like I said, I like dogs, I just don't want.
She's moving over this way.
I
She was pulling me over this way, so this is Cora. She just turned 22 months and she is a multi-food. And just is looking forward to this. She's great with assignments when we go into different schools, different areas with different sectors of community, if I don't interlink what. But she is just a gentle soul and looking forward to hopefully working with students of Reddington Middle School. So I thank you very much for your time and support. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Thank you, Mr. Charleston.
Oh, you didn't drop it.
Mrs. Wolf, is there anything online?
No, there is not.
Okay, moving on to correspondence, we have emails regarding the book and supporting the librarian. Board action, moving on to approval of administrative reports. Can I get a motion to approve 2.01 and 2.02? So moved. Neil,
Second, Randy.
any questions or comments on the minutes? All right, can I get a roll call, please?
Mrs. Betterman,
Yes.
Mrs. Fiore,
Yes.
Mrs. Mensa,
Yes.
Mr. Peach,
Yes.
Mrs. Bogorski,
Yes.
Mrs. Ryan,
Yes.
Mrs. Wolf.
Abstain from 2.02 as I was unable to attend the latter half, and yes to the rest.
Dr. Cerciolo,
Yes.
Ms. Yam,
Yes.
passes.
Moving on to finance and facilities, can I get a motion to adopt 3.01 through 3.09? So moved, Camille.
Second, Randy.
And we have a committee report?
We do. The Finance Committee met on February the 14th. And the first topic, we had some guest speakers, guests who reviewed our 21-22 audit results. And it's the annual comprehensive financial report, and it showed back to normal revenues and expenses post-COVID. Our district is financially healthy. We maintain a capital reserve in excess of $5 million. There were no audit findings nor corrective actions recommended. This is excellent news, and it demonstrates consistent fiscal responsibility and sound decisions made by Jason Bohm, Dr. Hart, and the board. The next topic involved the night custodial services. We discussed what was the cost difference between continuing to contract out for custodial services versus in-house, which would result in a savings in excess of $80,000 if we continue to outsource for our custodians. We will need to go out to bid for a new contract for the coming school year. And it was agreed that we should continue to outsource and we'll be able to maintain our current staff. The next topic was the breakfast program. The year-to-date sales and January sales for both White House School and Three Bridges have high daily breakfast sales. Hollenbrook and RMS have minimal daily breakfast sales. It was decided to continue the breakfast program in all schools for now. We will revisit this topic in the spring and decide how to move forward for the next school year. There's a 23-24 mandate for buildings with 10% low-income population or greater, and at this time, White House School currently has a low-income population of 10% or greater. Therefore, the breakfast program at White House School will be mandated for next year. The next topic involved the Three Bridges boiler, and we did discuss proceeding with the repair, which will cost less than $40,000, and a $14,000 architect engineering fee. The next topic, which we started to talk about, is the insurance renewal background information, but we're going to discuss that at the next meeting, and we might have an insurance broker present at the next meeting as well. We also briefly talked about a school bus tracking app, but we're going to discuss that further at the next meeting. And we chose our next meeting date for March the 8th and April the 21st, 2 dates.
Thank you, Dr. Cerciolo. Any questions or comments on the report or the action items?
We're gonna sue the people who put in the boiler? Have we not decided?
What? He asked if we're,
Are we gonna bring an action against the, or that's the topic?
It wasn't
I know we
decided.
discussed it briefly when I used to be on the committee.
well, I have to speak carefully.
Oh, okay.
So at this, we are looking into options, including insurance.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Very chunky. Any other questions or comments? Not hearing any, can I get a roll call, please?
Ms. Betterman,
Yes.
Ms. Dewar,
Yes.
Ms. Mento,
Yes.
Mr. Beach,
Yes.
Ms. Bogorski,
Yes.
Ms. Ryan,
Yes.
Ms. Wolf,
Yes.
Dr. Cerciolo,
Yes.
Ms. Young.
Yes. All right. Moving on to education technology. Can I get a motion to adopt 4.01 through 4.08?
So move, Michelle.
Second, Camille. And we did not have a committee report. Are there any questions or comments on the action items?
I had a couple of questions, just on 4.08. Will parents be able to view the survey before administering it?
Yeah, we do have copies of the survey that will be made available to parents. The suggestion from Montclair was have it available if requested, so we could just email it to parents or have them come in and take a look at the copy.
I mean, my concern with that still is the delay in getting results, the percentage of students that need to participate in order to run the survey, and what our plan would be after receiving the results. Is it just providing data, or is it how it will benefit our students?
There's no doubt that the data is delayed. You're talking to somebody who's studied psychology and got a PhD, so some data is better than no data, I guess. So I know that there's a delay there, but I think having research and having information if it is delayed could help us program. And I guess I suppose it depends on what the data says. The survey results will provide, statistically significant differences between our county and the state. So we could identify areas where we're higher than or lower than the state, and we could develop programming. We would maybe even be able to look in our results to see where we are higher or lower than the state and or the county. But the data is released, 10, 12 months after the survey is administered. So, the students that take it are probably gone. But there are program things that we can, implement if we find any trends in the data that we'd like to run implementation on. So yeah, there is a delay, but it's completely up to you. We can have information, or we could not have the information. I think the other thing of note is that we were selected by the state to do it. In compliance with our board policy, I think it's important for the board to approve the survey because it involves students. If we don't approve it, I suppose I just tell the state and Montclair that we're not participating as well. So I think it could benefit students if we find some trends in the data, albeit it'll be a little bit delayed, but if we see these trends year over year, maybe it's a programming thing, rather than just an isolated thing related to just the 7th and 8th graders.
So we participated in this in the past,
We
correct?
have. Yeah.
Okay. And what was our outcome, or what was, do we know?
We did the survey like right before COVID, and I think when the results were released in 2021, I think everybody lost sight of it. You know, it was not the top thing on the priority list, if you will, in 2020 and 2021. I think now that we are going to be participating, you know, if you approve it tonight, participating, I think that this is something easy that we can get the data, the results, and then we can look into things. Even an example would be just last week, I think Mr. Charleston had a guest speaker come in to do some assemblies for the kids, which has been a result of some of our own anecdotal data, some of the discipline issues that are happening at the middle school. But it's things like that that we can plan for something like this.
Yeah, I mean, my concern still is the 10, 12 months later. That's not current data at that point. You know, I feel like there's so many different changes within the students and the trends that I think it's important to have it sooner.
I'm just curious, is there a way to go back and ask them if were they able to finish the survey? Did they get all the information in 2020 when they conducted the survey? Right, did all the schools finish participating, and could we get that information even though it's 3 years later now?
I'm sure there's a way we could. We could ask them, and then this way we have historical data and we have more recent data so that we have a comparison from last time we administered it to this time. They even say in their letter that they sent to Mr. Charleston and myself that it's every 3 years. So even though it's a delay in data, that's only administered every 3 years as well. So even in creating programming, you know, any district who participates is still not gonna, it's every 3 years, which I suppose I'm trying to say that even though it's given every 3 years, there still seems to be some value in having the information for the state as well as for, you know, county by county.
But this is completely voluntary.
Completely.
And they have to opt into it.
Right.
Yes, this is the definition of opt-in. It is.
They don't hear back from the parents.
Then they don't get
And
it.
they don't take it. We hear nothing. If we get a consent form that says yes, they take it. If we get a consent form that says no, they don't take it, but both will get a gift card just because they returned the consent. If we hear nothing, they don't take it. Completely voluntary.
Any
I'm
other?
sorry, I have another, I don't even know, I'm still formulating my question, so I apologize. So, I'm trying to understand, so we have data from the last time it was taken that we probably have access to, right? So will that data be used to inform this comprehensive equity plan? Somehow in my, I don't know if you said it, or I have the comprehensive equity plan and this survey conflated in my mind, but are they two separate things? Okay.
Great question. They are two completely
Okay.
separate things. Yes. Good question.
Okay, thank you.
Is a comprehensive equity plan, is that something we're gonna see and approve at some point? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the comprehensive equity plan asks us to evaluate ourselves on certain criteria outlined by the state in terms of equity. And Stacy Beagle is pulling together a committee to do our self-assessment in terms of equity. We have to do it every 3 years. And it really what the equity plan does is tie back to district initiatives, but really it ties back to what we believe in is stated in board policy as well. So do we have policies for certain things, affirmative action, school programming, resource materials, things like that. Our internal folks do an analysis first, present it to you by June, and then we present it to the state once every 3 years.
Any other questions or comments? All right, can I get a roll call, please?
Ms. Betterman,
Yes.
Ms. Fiore,
Yes.
Ms. Menser,
Yes.
Ms. Peach,
Yes.
Ms. Bogorski,
Yes.
Ms. Ryan,
No to 4.08, yes to the rest.
Ms. Wolf,
Yes.
Dr. Cerciolo,
Yes.
Ms. Zampa.
Yes. Moving on to personnel, can I get a motion to adopt 5.01 through 5.06?
So move, Randy.
Second. And we have a committee report.
Yes, we do. So the committee met on February 9th, and we discussed staffing updates, staffing projections for the school year 23-24, follow up to that, enrollment, the administrative organizational chart draft for the 2023-2024 school year, the holiday schedules for the 12-month employees, other personnel matters. We talked about the relevant board goals. Goal 1, to settle an agreement with the RTA before the end of the school year. And goal 5, to set budget parameters that effectively plan for enrollment growth, maintain the depth, breadth, and quality of the educational and co-curricular program that are both sustainable and fiscally accountable to the community, evaluating and assessing our redistricting plan to accommodate shifts in student population. We talked about the agenda items on the agenda tonight: new staff hires, additional hours for employee, and a school calendar holiday schedules. And we set our next meeting for Friday, Friday, March 24th at 8:45 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Pogorski. Are there any questions or comments on the minutes or the action items? All right, can I get a roll call, please?
Mrs. Betterman,
Yes.
Mrs. Fiore,
Yes.
Mrs. Spencer,
Yes.
Mr. Peach,
Yes.
Mrs. Podgorski,
Yes.
Mrs. Ryan,
Yes.
Mrs. Wolf.
Yes.
Dr. Suciolo,
Yes.
Mrs. Zamble,
Yes.
passes.
Moving on to communication, can I get a motion to adopt 6.01 and 6.02? So moved, Jennifer.
Second, Randy.
We're really mixing it up tonight. Any questions or comments on the policies or calendar? All right, can I get a roll call, please?
Mrs. Betterman,
Yes.
Mrs. Fiore,
Yes.
Mrs. Menser,
Yes.
Mr. Peach,
Yes.
Mrs. Podgorski,
Yes.
Mrs. Ryan,
Yes.
Mrs. Wolf.
Yes.
Dr. Suciolo,
Yes.
Mrs. Zamble,
Yes.
passes.
Welcome, Cora Bean. All right, moving on to unfinished business, we have board tours.
Board tours have been scheduled. I invited each of you via an invitation like we do with our meetings. So in your email somewhere, you have the board tours invite. March 2nd at RMS and White House. March 6th at Hollenbrook and Three Bridges. Mr. Nigro just had a special request that we start a little earlier here, which is the 8 o'clock start, because he would like you to see his SEL block toward the beginning of the day. That was a request. Over the course of the board tours, if there's anything you're interested in seeing, let me know, but you'll see mostly programming things, work toward our strategic goals, and anything that the building principal really wants to highlight. I allow them to really take control of the tours to show off their building to you and your kids. If you want to see your students, your children, and embarrass them, let us know in advance. We'll give you a schedule so you know where they are, so you can go in and say hi, wait for them. Or go in, make a seat, it's okay. We look forward to it. We'll see you then.
Thank you. Any other unfinished business? New business from the board. I have one thing. We're going to be moving back to YouTube, which was pre-COVID. We went to the Google Meet because we had to over COVID. Since then, we have not needed. We want to encourage the board to be in person and in-person attendance. So the live stream will be up online as just like it is today, and comments will be available on the YouTube just like it is today. Any other new business?
I just have one thing. I'm the representative for the Hunterdon County School Boards Association, and they have open nominations right now for their officers. So if anyone has any interest, you can let me know. They have to be in by March 1st, and there's just a little Google form that you have to fill out. So if you have interest and want to get involved at the county level, just let me know.
Thank you. Any other new business? All right, moving on to open public comment. We are open for items on and off the agenda. Tom Curtis.
Yes, hi. So my question is, I know the board has lots of policies and procedures, and I'm sure many of those are meeting legal requirements. But for those that are not legal requirements, what would be the typical steps that would be involved in changing a policy or procedure?
Okay. If we're able to answer that, we'll do so at the end of public comment. Are there any other comments? And there's nothing in the chat. Okay. So that closes public comment. So question as I understood it was the steps to change policy and procedures if it's not mandated.
In very general terms, policies are usually changed by nature of law changes, right? Any federal laws, code, or statute in the state that governs a lot of our policies, that's usually the first way that's a legal requirement, as Mr. Curtis said, that we change policy. For something non-legal, that it's a board-driven policy, it would have to be likely an issue either identified by either the school administration or the Board of Education that's brought first to the policy committee for discussion, and from the policy committee to see if it warrants moving forward to the full board for revision and recommendations for the revision. Procedures are different, internal procedures, we have internal protocols, we have handbooks, we have protocol documents and things that the administration use internally that use policy to inform best practices, but those are our internal protocols and internal practices. I also think that there may be a bylaw that speaks to policy changes and the procedure, specific procedures, and how it would need to go about getting changed, what kind of issue it needs to be, how it goes in front of a committee, from the committee to the full board. I don't know if
So policy 0131, bylaws and policies, the information on how policies would get changed it's all documented there on policy 0131 on our website. All right, moving on to executive session. Can I get a motion to adjourn to executive session in accordance with the Sunshine Law to discuss personnel benefits, budget, RTE negotiations, PIB, and legal matter for approximately 45 minutes, at which time the board expects to return to public session where action shall not be taken. The matters discussed will be made public if and when such circumstances exist. If and when the circumstances requiring confidentiality no longer exist. However, it is not presently known when such circumstances will exist. Can I get that motion? So moved, Jennifer. Second, Camille. All right, 6:59. Okay. Oh, did roll call.
Ms. Veteran,
Yes.
Ms. Fiore,
Yes.
Ms. Menzer,
Yes.
Mr. Peach,
Yes.
Ms. Bugworthy,
Yes.
Ms. Ryan,
Yes.
Ms. Wolf,
Yes.
Dr. Sosiello,
Yes.
Ms. Hample.
Yes. It's still 6:59.